Night Ranger, Waterboy, and Bell 77. Vam's last day of operation is Saturday, June 28th. Some shows are already sold out. All tickets are limited and available at VampsVegas.com.
When you need cash, how quickly can LendingStore.com connect you to a lender faster than this commercial? Whether you need cash for a medical bill, groceries, or rent, LendingStore.com's network of lenders makes it quick and easy. In less time than this ad, you can fill out a few fields at LendingStore.com and find out if a lender can get you $500 to $5,000 as early as tomorrow. So visit LendingStore.com today for details. See website for details. Lending Store is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old and not available in all states.
Hey, it's Chris Fox. Yep, your morning radio guy, and I want to be your trusted Las Vegas realtor. I've called Las Vegas my home for over 34 years, and I know it like the back of my hand. And I've helped a lot of Las Vegans just like you. So whether you're buying, selling, investing, or you have a property that needs a lot of TLC, I can help. Just call me, 702-419-4346. 702-419-4346. I want to be your trusted Las Vegas realtor, and I want to do work for you. Simply Vegas Real Estate. Program number 1000960.
How we doing, everybody? Or am I loud and clear? Do you hear me well? What up, what up, what up? Bricklayers. Bricklayers out there? How's the voice sounding today, man? How are we sounding today? What do I do with that drink? Wide open. Thank you, Fabian. Oh, we got a big show, man. I got a big show. I had Reggie Jackson on last night. I'm going to replay that. He was fabulous. We got Gary Lawless, the great broadcaster from the Golden Knights. We have Vinny Bonsignore. And we got Renee Brown, newest member of Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame, a trailblazing female in sports. From the Olympics to WNBA, it's going to be a big interview. All right, let's do this.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show.
All right.
Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio, your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we begin today, live from Lotus Broadcasting, our studios. Bobby and I are here, and it's a hot one. Bobby, I was thinking about you when I parked the car, and you were out having a dart, and I came in here, and you and I have been doing this a long time together, almost 30 years. We started off on Trop. Remember back in the day, that was a Trop and Spencer. And I remember in the summer when we'd get to work, it'd be so hot and we'd be there for hours and I'd come out and it would be boiling. Today's the first day of the year where I couldn't put my hands on my steering wheel. That's a big day. I logged that into my phone. Normally I have the car in the garage. The son was in there doing some stuff. So it was out there for a little bit. I don't have one of those Shield yet. I should get one. Man, woo, here we go. Summertime radio right around the corner. Man, do we have a monster show today. A couple of quick things I want to tell you. Reggie Jackson, my conversation with him last night, it's so good. It will be front and center today. Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, you'll hear that conversation. To me, it's fantastic. It's a childhood dream. He was my hero, and he called me last night, and you're going to hear some of that on the Yankees and the Dodgers and everything that he wants to talk about. Gary Lawless is going to join us. I think he is one of the top 2 to 3 broadcasters in all of Vegas, period. The great voice of the Golden Knights as an analyst on TV in between periods. He's nationally known. He's fantastic. He's got a business venture I want to talk about a little bit. We'll get into hockey. We'll touch on the end of the Golden Knights. And it looks like it's going to be Edmonton in Florida going up against it in the Stanley Cup. Vinny Bonsignore will join us as he does exclusively on Wednesdays. Our teammate here on Raider Nation Radio. He's fantastic. We'll get his opinion on what's going to happen here with the Raiders going forward. Then Renee Brown, newest member of the Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame, a native of Henderson, a trailblazing sports executive. Unbelievable life on women's NBA and USA basketball, and she will join the class of 2025. We get those interviews exclusively on Wednesdays. We're hoping for A.J. Cole. We might get A.J. Cole on his punting contract extension that makes him the highest paid punter in the history of the NFL. So I'm busy. If you want to get through, do it now. 702-365-9200 if you want to call in and get going here. And again, you know what we do. We try to talk Raiders. We talk Raiders throughout the year, and mostly when games are played. We preview Raider games, and then we analyze the games after the game. That's what we do. We talk to the coach. We talk to more players. We have the insiders. We're doing all that. There's not much going on now other than the fact that they're having organized workouts because they have a brand new coach in Pete Carroll, and they get a head start. As you know, every team that has a new coach, they get a little more time to get acclimated. Not that Pete Carroll needs that. He knows how to coach blindfolded, but it's nice that the Raiders are having their team together for organized practices, OTAs. We had rookie OTAs, and we'll go from there on that. And there really is no breaking news. The last big story we had with the Raiders was the status of Christian Wilkins not being 100% and them not shutting him down, but he's having some difficulties, or the progressing of this rehab might have had a setback or not, depending on how you describe that. Other than that, the attendance is really good. Everybody seems unbelievably excited about Ashton Genty. The wide receivers look good. The young rooks who are coming in look really good. I think the Raiders are in the market for a cornerback. They're in the market maybe for another linebacker. I think we all agree on that. They got money. Some people say $44 million, $40 million. I'm not a capologist, but they got money if they won someone, and they're players that they'd like to re-sign, like Max Crosby, who was re-signed. You got to have money around to do that. Colt Miller, other players overall. And I think the Raiders are in a really good spot here. We don't have to beat nothing to death. We don't have to sit here and whine and speculate and guess and do a bunch of radio about nothing. We're going to do radio when radio matters with the Raiders. Today, it really matters if you're a Raider fan. And the only big topic that I have is something that I tweeted out last night. I hope you follow me on X. I'm not always good on X. Sometimes I can act like a sniveling 12-year-old. But you'll see me in my backyard, and when something happens in sports, I'll tweet it out. And I think some of my sports opinions are well thought out. I mean, when I tweet about sports, I'm either really emotional, upset, like my Knicks, who I'll get to, or I think I see something, or I'll retweet something. And a guy by the name of John Frashella, who's got 150,000 Twitter followers, and he's an NFL writer and insider. He's an NFL draft expert. And something caught me on Twitter, and he ranked all 32 NFL offensive lines, Bobby. All 32 offensive lines, he ranked it. And he's a football guy, and he's pretty good at what he does. He's got a track record. He's not a nobody. There's a lot of nobodies out there on X. He's not a nobody. So I started to scroll down. Where would the Raiders be with their offensive line? I thought maybe 17, 19, 21. Oh, boy. He had the Raiders at 29th. So I said, let me look at this tweet. Let me throw it out there. Let me get the Raider Nation going. Let me see what we got here. So he's got the Raiders ranked with the offensive line near the bottom at 29. Now, there's good news and bad news. What do you want? I'll give you the bad news first. They're ranked 29th. The good news is all the teams ranked underneath them, we play this year. It would be the New York Giants at 30. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 31. And you know who he has as the worst offensive line in football? Playoff Houston Texans. So I don't know. I can't sit here and recite. I don't know the Houston Texans offensive line. I know a couple of players, but I don't know their depth. But I went up to where he had the rankings at the highest teams. Number 1, Philadelphia. Sounds about right. Now here's the really bad news. If you believe this guy. I believe people. I'm not one of those politically crazy guys that if someone says something on the left, I have to trash it. And if someone says something on the right, I have to trash it. No, I'm a reasonable guy. Here's our problem. He's got the Chargers ranked number 2 in his offensive line rankings. Okay. He's got Kansas City at 8. And then he's got Denver at 7. He's got the 3 teams we play in the AFC West ranked in the top 8. Number 2 is the Chargers. Number 7 is the Broncos. And number 8 are the Chiefs. And we, the Raider Nation, are 29th. Wow. 29? Jackson Powers Johnson, Colt Miller? I mean, I know we drafted some guys. So I got some of the responses as I tweeted it out. Oh boy, you want to get the Raider Nation going, you know? And he starts going out here on, is this an opinion piece, JT? Rod says, I hope we get better. JT from Mr. Cortez, better yet, more motivation for the Raiders and the organization. HMD says Denver at 7, even more comical. They're in the top 3. Colin P. Jones says, JT, another last place finish unless marked improvement on the offensive line. And then it just goes down and down and down, and people. So why would I bring this up? To stir the pot like I need that? You think I want to stir the pot in the summer? I want to be in the pool having a Modelo. But it comes down to the fact that this offensive line needs to step up. Okay? You got Pete Carroll's son. You got John Spytek bringing in the players, and you got Pete Carroll overseeing everything. You got Chip Kelly. This team will go as far as the offensive line takes them. Now, you might say, wait. I thought the problem with the team is cornerback depth. Yeah, it's an issue. I don't think it's a problem. It's an issue. And then linebacker play and depth. I think they have depth at linebacker, just not a lot of great elite players. Maybe some guys can pop and do some things. But the offensive line, as I was right and everybody was wrong in the former regimes, since we moved to Vegas, didn't care enough about the right tackle. They were like, we'll just take one of our guys, a 7th rounder, and we'll put him at right tackle. How'd that work out? Didn't work out, right? So now John Spytek drafted a bunch of offensive linemen who seemed to be pretty good, athletic, and strong, bigger guys. We didn't go out and get an offensive lineman via free agency. Kappa comes in. He's a guy who can play, and he's proven he can play. I don't know how much he has left. He'll have to prove that. Colt Miller is a really good player. Never been to the Pro Bowl, which is shocking, but it's not that shocking because at times there's only 2 elite, super elite left tackles, and they go every year. That's how this goes. Ask Art Shell from back in the day. If you're the best in the sport, you're going to the Pro Bowl. The other guys are going to line up behind you. So for this offensive line, Jackson Powers Johnson is very young. He's an old soul. He's great. That interview I had with him was my last big interview with the Raider. He was great. He's ready to go. And then everybody else, I guess they're on prove-it deals. So I would like to see an offensive lineman who's cut from another team due to salary cap purposes and the fact that maybe he's in an 8th or 9th year and a younger player, more cost-effective, beat him out. And we sign that guy who could start at right tackle, possibly. But Raider Nation, we're all going to have to get on board, which I am. I get on board with all this stuff. And you hate me for it, some of you. You think I should be against it. I'm not against it until if it doesn't work, then I have a strong opinion on it. This offensive line has got to do better. We got Ashton Genty, man. We cannot fail this kid. He has got to have an offensive line that is ferocious, has attitudes like Lincoln Kennedy and Steve Wisniewski back in the day. I could go to the legends of this franchise. Henry Lawrence, John Vella, who just passed away, may he rest in peace, Art Shell, Gene Upshaw, and Pops Jim Otto. I don't know if any of them are walking through that door, but they're there in the building, man. Those guys are all over the building with name and likeness. This offensive line's got to get going. So that's one of the topics that I come up with. I think it's a good topic because we don't have any games anytime soon. The topic is, what do you need to see from the offensive line? Are you good with this group? Assuming this is it. Undrafted free agents, the drafted players who I think are actually pretty good. The guys who are coming back and competing for jobs. Oh, Bobby, if you're coming back and you're Dylan Parham and Thayer Mumford, you better be looking over your shoulder, man. You better not think that you got a job lined up for you to start, because Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly is trying everybody out. Everybody's going to get a look, and everyone's going to be on tape. But for the offensive line, where would I have ranked them? Where would I have put them? I don't know. I don't know. No, nor do you. Nor does anybody know where to rank this Raider offensive line. They're not in the middle of the pack. They're not considered top tier at all. They're considered below average by the gentleman who put this out. and leave him alone. You don't got to yell at the guy. The guy put out some content. John Fischella, he went out there and gave you his opinion on this. And the Raiders' offensive line better be good. Just better be good. This franchise has waited way too long. Pete Carroll's been around for a long time at a high level. The Raiders obviously have coaches who are going to develop everybody. Rob Leonard's great at developing these defensive linemen. Okay, this comes to the point where right now, this offensive line, the young players need to be developed. Anybody who's been in this league 3 or 4 years, you better be ready to go. You better be ready to go, and that includes the great Colton Miller, who's been nothing but a great Raider. We better see the best, absolute best of Colton Miller this year. And you've seen some good years out of Colton Miller. No, we need his best. He's not past his prime. He's not on the other side of his prime. Colton Miller is in the exact prime of his career right now. He's got to play like a Pro Bowler, and we got to get a lot out of JPJ at center. He's got to be elite. He's got to be Pro Bowl consideration. That's the monologue brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue as we open up the show. 702-365-9200. They get the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. They're big hockey bars, football bars, gaming bars. Get a bite to eat. You can do a lot of things. And they're a proud partner of the show here, and we're excited about that. Good place to go to cool off, man. There is a PT's everywhere. Wherever you go, there is a PT's. So you can get in and relax and have a good time with family, friends, anybody in town. And we're ready for you to head on out to PT's. They also own the Strat, and the Strat's done a lot of great things. So Bobby's trying to get the phones, I hope not to work. I just hope to get the phones rolling in here today. A lot of people are watching us on YouTube as we get going here. We rebuilt this YouTube channel, and we got it going, and it looks really good here if you want to get involved here. So we'll have Gary Lawless, who will join us in a little bit. He's always good, and we'll have him on. And then Vinny Bonsignore. I'm going to talk to Vinny about the offensive line, the quarterback play. I think the offensive line is going to be improved. I really think it's going to be improved for the Raiders for one big point. They got Geno Smith, who's just going to be better at the line of scrimmage. I think he's just going to be fantastic at the line of scrimmage. Geno's going to get the Raiders out of plays quickly that Chip Kelly believes are the right play. Maybe they're not. Or he's going to run the Chip Kelly plays that he knows are going to work. And what an upgrade without being disrespectful, because Norv Turner was in the booth last year. What an icon he is. I mean, Norv's seen a lot of football and great football. He was the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys for a couple of their Super Bowls when they had one of the, arguably the greatest offensive line of all time. Just a brilliant offensive line. That's going to be really important, that when you look at Chip Kelly, he runs the best plays in Henderson as they're drawing him up on the board right now. Robert in Portland, great to hear from you. Start us off on the flagship. What's happening?
Yeah, this is a great subject. Q had a guy on about a month ago that specialized in O-lines, and he had him in the middle of the pack like you figured. I have a question for you. Will they hold on to the two tight end philosophy under Carroll? Secondly, gap integrity has been an issue, especially late in games. And the guy that did rate ours in the middle of the pack, he said our guards were undersized. Parham does the best he can with what he's got. And he said that, Meredith had a good year last year, but has his deficiencies due to size. So my question to you is, are they going to, under Chip, just try to release the ball quickly using two tight ends and, just change their offense to the point where, Chip's going to do the best he can with what he's got right now? Because Pete's had bad offensive lines before, and they've still managed to run the ball.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. Good phone call, Robert, to start us off. I don't know what they're going to do on straight-on blocking and a zone blocking technique. Remember, Pete Carroll's son on the offensive line is the coach there, and what Chip Kelly's going to want to do. Chip Kelly just came off a year, and I know it's college, but they won the national championship with elite talent. They had two 1,000-yard backs, a very good quarterback, arguably the best young wide receiver in all of football. I just know Chip Kelly because I've covered pretty much everything he's done over 30 years. And I like the style of his offense. I love how efficient it is, how adaptable it is, how you can run. You can go no huddle with him. You could do ball control and run the ball. I mean, whatever Chip Kelly has worked with in his life, if I read to Chip Kelly's entire Wikipedia on where he's coached, this is the first time I believe in his career that he has Ashton Genty, who's never run a ball ever in the NFL, who's elite. He's an elite player. And Brock Bowers, who's an elite rookie. He's got two guys on rookie contracts, big contracts. They're making a lot of money. They're rookies. Brock was a high pick, and so was Genty. That these guys are going to see an offense that they've never seen before. At Georgia, which was pretty good for Brock, and especially at Boise State for Ashton Genty. With all due respect to Boise State, what we're about to see here is next level with Chip. So that's where we're at. And I have confidence that Chip Kelly is going to draw up plays that are going to put Geno Smith inside the pocket via play action, outside the pocket, meaning sprint right, move the pocket quickly, something we never did around here since Gannon. Can you name me the last time we had a quarterback? Derek Carr was really good. How many times did you see Derek Carr run a design play where they snapped the ball and Derek sprinted out to his right? Maybe never. So we got a guy in Geno who can start the play and get outside the pocket with elite size and strength and then move the defense with him, with his eyes, and he can go back door to Jacoby, Michael Mayer, Brock, right? The new Rabesh, the guys they have. This is all about Chip Kelly. Pete wants to run it. He wants to run it really hard, and he wants to set up play action. Bravo. But you better have the plays that get guys open. Okay, because we had a couple of years here. We had 1 year where Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow was open on every play. They're open on every play. I'm sitting there in the press box or in my seats going, we just threw the ball to Waller for 30 yards and we're not throwing it back to him? Like, we're not running the same play? We're not running the same exact play where he was open by 10 yards. Chip Kelly will do that. Chip Kelly, if Brock Bowers is open for 18 yards, Chip Kelly ain't going to put that play back in a box and get to it in 3 weeks. Chip Kelly's going to go with it in the same quarter. This is an elite offensive mind. Oh, well, he was a head coach. He didn't work out. Give me a break. So many great head coaches get fired in this league, and they're great. Chip Kelly is a great football coach who specializes on the offensive side. And when you got a player like that, you got a couple of players like Ashton Genty, that's what's going to be fascinating to me, is how much Ashton Genty gets the ball compared to other rookie running backs. Because you got a lot of guys around here who need targets. They're not asking for them. They're not begging for them. They're not going to be knuckleheads. You know, they're not going to be like Stephon Diggs on a boat. You see that video? Oh, boy. Stephon Diggs on a boat with some alleged pink stuff in a bag and a bunch of girls going, hey, daddy, hey, daddy. We don't got to worry about that, I don't think, around here. With a diva wide receiver. And I never called Devontae a diva. Never once. Devontae just didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here. Devontae would have been great in this system. Oh, my God. Can you imagine Devontae Adams with Brock Bowers, Geno Smith, Ashton Genty? But he wanted to go. He didn't want to wait around anymore, and that was his decision. But I'm really optimistic about what this offense can look like because they got to stay on the field. Max needs a breather, man. Max can't be playing 34 minutes. Max can't be playing every bleeping play, man. Max has got to be on the bench sitting down as Geno goes on a 7-minute drive and Genty's picking up easy first downs. Then that changes everyone's belief in the Raiders. Anyone who has an opinion of the Raiders can go back and say, man, you know, I didn't think the Raiders were going to be any good, but I didn't think that Genty would have 1,400 yards and Genty would have 19 touchdowns. I'm not saying that, don't hold me to those numbers, but he could. And then everybody looks at the Raiders differently. And that runs through Chip Kelly's department of the offense and his coaching staff and the people that he's coaching with. We're brought to you by Modelo. It's the #1 beer in America. Wow. What a bummer.
Yeah, I'm just saying time wise because it's like 14.
Yeah. What up, what up, what up? All right, no Gary Lawless. We missed him. Must have had a phone conflict. No problem.
Would you like me to play that Bradshaw cut about our?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure.
That was a great one.
Please join us Friday, June 13th. This is the South Nevada Sports Hall of Fame induction class of 2025. Honorees include Ron Aiken, Renee Brown, Derek England, TJ Lavin, Laura Smith, and Rick Trostel. Proceeds from the event.
All right, how's everyone doing, man? How many people we got in here? I don't see the number. Let me look. Got a lot of people here on Twitter. That's our new thing.
I just found you on Twitter.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, if you're watching, sitting here right now.
Yeah.
You probably got a couple of.
Yes. All right, so I think we got this Reggie Jackson interview. We should drop in right here because we are packed the rest of the way. This is a really good interview. You're going to have to listen up. No video of it, but it's real good. I'm off to Chicago for Mike Ditker's Gridiron Greats tomorrow. Excited about that. That'll be fun. That will be a lot of fun.
Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick your time, and it does all the work of finding.
How you doing, Bobby? What's new?
Not a hell of a lot.
Then
Same old,
you can
same old.
choose who you want to talk to and meet great people on
I got
back-to-back
back-to-back
calls.
doubles because I've got aviators
That's
tonight and
all.
tomorrow.
You save time and energy.
Okay. So you got Aviators when? Tomorrow night?
Tonight, tomorrow night.
Tonight and tomorrow night.
They're playing Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
That would be the Dodger affiliate.
Come out with the Pacers, Halliburton. That's important.
You want the layup or the post game?
The layup, and then I can throw to the post game. Yep. Yeah, Reggie was good, man. When you get an interview like that, you got to take advantage of it.
Oh, yeah. Was he booked or did he call in?
He called in. He just called in out of the blue.
I was going to kick him and Stephen A. I got a kick out of that. All right, 30.
Okay. Oh, it's weird. Lawless called me today, man. We were on the phone.
Welcome back to the District Show, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Halliburton for Indiana, left to right in yellow, down the right side, gliding through the air and laying it in.
Well, I'm heartbroken. Pacers Radio, my Knicks lost last night. I dedicate my life to the Knicks, along with my family and friends, but I give way too much for the Knicks. I get nothing in return. I literally get nothing in return. We get by the Celtics. You think you're going to roll. You got a nice draw, and the Knicks end up last night. They just can't do it. We're brought to you by Astrum headsets. I'm wearing it now. If you're watching us on the YouTube, you'll see these are noise cancellation headsets. Are the best I've ever had. The earbuds are even better. It's fantastic. So if you want to go get a pair, we'll give you 20% off, which is a nice number. Use my name, JT, in the checkout. Astrum, ASTRUM, TECH.com, AstrumTech.com. Before I get to Reggie Jackson, the Knicks, Tyrese Halliburton had one of the greatest games ever played last night, ever. And that's what blew me away about being a fan of a team like the Knicks. It would be like being a Raider fan. And remember, Nick Foles had 6 touchdowns against the Raiders, 6 at the Coliseum. Whenever a team breaks a record on your team, it makes it that much worse. So the Knicks lost last night. They were probably going to lose. They made a little bit of a game of it late. And then after the game, they put up the stat, which I literally almost fell off my couch when I saw it. In the history of basketball, this has never happened once. Tyrese Halliburton had 30-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, 15-plus assists, 5-plus threes, and no turnovers. That has never happened before in the history of basketball. How is that even possible, as they've been keeping records of basketball? So because he didn't have a turnover puts him number 1 all time. The only other players ever to have 30-plus points, 15-plus assists, and 10 rebounds in a single game in the playoffs was Nikola Jokic, and Oscar Robertson did it twice, in 1962 and 1964. But the Big O had turnovers in the game. So there you go. There's no rivalry between the Indiana Pacers and the Knicks. Indy owns the Knicks. The Knicks now are owned by the Indiana Pacers. The next game, Game 5, will be at the Garden. Hopefully the Knicks put up a fight. If they don't, they'll be done. And this country is not ready. We are not ready at all in this country to watch Indiana and Oklahoma City. Nobody will watch.
Nope.
People at the bar will say, can you turn on tennis? People at the bar will say, can you turn on soccer? I don't want to watch this game. But that's what happens in sports. From time to time, teams get there that you don't expect. Look what we're looking at in the Stanley Cup. Potentially a team from Sunrise, Florida, the Florida Panthers, and the Edmonton Oilers. So that's what we're going to get here. I would schedule some trips, everybody, over the next 2 weeks. I'd go on a trip because if you're sticking around to watch the Stanley Cup final and the NBA final, they're not going to get any ratings at all. So pretty cool last night. Reggie Jackson called into my show, Mr. October. And it's just nice that he listens and he wants to call in. He's a hero of mine. And he called in and we started talking about the Knicks. I said, Reggie, the Knicks break my heart. They do it all the time.
Well, you know, they got to learn. You know, they haven't been in the playoffs in such a long time. They're there now, and you know, it looks like they got some spreading the ball around issues. And there's some guys there that haven't played together that long. So, but I'm pretty proud of the way the Knicks have played. A little disappointed here because I think they could be doing a heck of a lot better, turning the ball over too much, not getting rebounds when they need to, you know. And I think there's something like 20 to 8 or 9 on the offensive boards or something, and turnovers and stuff. You know, you can't really make those mistakes if you got one team there that's played a heck of a lot longer together. There's no attention. I can't name 5 players on the Pacers before they got in the playoffs.
Yeah, and then Halliburton had one of the greatest games. Halliburton had one of the greatest games ever tonight. Almost. The only player ever to do what he did with no turnovers in a game in that stat sheet. So we watched some history tonight. I wanted to jump in. I know you're excited to go to Chavez Ravine. The Yankees are in town playing Anaheim, and then they stay in Southern California and play the Dodgers. And I know you're going to be in the stadium. How excited are you to see the former team, the team you've been consulting with, and have a great legacy with?
It's always great to be around the guys. I've known Aaron Boone since he's 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
And I've known Aaron Judge since he was 20. So it's, I'll be excited to see those guys. It's always nice being around, and you get a text message, you get a text. I get kind of excited when I get a text from Aaron Judge. I say, come on, man, where you at? Come on, we want to see you. So, and I know the traveling secretary and the clubhouse guy's been there for, 30 years. So it's a nice place to be.
Reggie, I've been dying to ask you, as we speak live, Aaron Judge is 101 points ahead of Ohtani. Let that sink in for a second. 397 to 296. And Ohtani is elite, and he's a great player, but he's not pitching. He doesn't field this position. He's a DH. And Judge, plays pretty good defense, and he's having another incredible start. When you just hear the comparison, you're one of the all-time greats. We, the fans, love comparisons like that. When you think of Ohtani and Judge, is this lightly a rivalry because they just played in the World Series that Ohtani won last year?
I don't really think so. I don't see them as a comparison. Maybe in homers, Judge is, does a whole heck of a lot more. Being on the field every day is a whole lot different. I don't like the comparison. The one guy plays, both ways. I think when Ohtani comes back and starts pitching, then he starts to elevate himself and separates himself too. So I'm both happy those guys are having great years. I really don't think I don't pay attention to the difference in averages. It's really kind of what you do when the game is on the line. You got to be productive when they're slicing the bread after August the 20th. They start slicing the bread. 1 for me, none for you. 3 for me, 1 for you. 5 for me, I'll give you another 1. 2 for me, 1 for you. That's it down the stretch. All the games count 2 going down the stretch.
What did you tell me when you said when the leaves turn brown? Right? That was a great line when we were talking off the air. Say that again.
When the leaves turn brown, I will be around. You got to come past me. You going to World Series during the 80s? You got to go past the guy in Oakland or in New York. You got to get permission.
You got to get permission when the leaves turn brown to get past Reggie Jackson. So here's what I was dying to ask you. We because championships matter, and you've had multiple rings. When you look at the greatest players to never win a championship, my list of the top 5, not a Mount Rushmore 4, would be, Ted Williams, Ernie Banks, Barry Bonds. I'd have Bonds on that list. A lot of people say Ken Griffey Jr. He was one of the all-time greats there. Mike Trout never won a ring. So when we look at players, Reggie, who never got one, when you think of that, and you know how many of these players were great, Ernie Banks and the great Ted Williams, they still had Hall of Fame careers, but they didn't get that ring. How does that define their legacy?
Well, you have to have other players with you. I played with 3 of the great players, the Hall of Famers. Played with Raleigh Fingers and Catfish Hunter. Mm-hmm. And then you had guys that just fell out of the Hall of Fame, like Greg Nettles, just fell out of the Hall of Fame, Ronnie Guidry, Sparky Lyle, Cy Young Award winner, Thurman Munson just missed the Hall of Fame, Sal Bando just missed, Joe Rudy, big-time player, Campaneris. I was surrounded with those, Kenny Holtzman. I played with a lot of great players. And so, I had a chance to where I could get one hit in the game or hit one ball over the fence and would be a hero because the game stayed close. The guy's Fingers, when he got up in the bullpen, the game was over. You'd like Mariano, except Fingers pitched 3 innings.
Right. Yeah, incredible. Reggie Jackson's our guest.
You had to be the winning, the tying run had to be in the on-deck circle. if you were going to get a save. And at times you had to pitch 3 innings to get a save. People don't even know that. There was one year, Fingers was telling me that the tying run had to be at home plate for you to get a save. I couldn't believe it. But I did know that the tying run had to be in the on-deck circle for most of Raleigh Fingers' career. And for most of Raleigh Fingers' career, I want to say he averaged 125 innings a year.
Yeah, I noticed.
Mariano has some numbers. He has unbelievable numbers, and unbelievable numbers when it counted in the World Series. He barely was scored upon. I think it's like 50.
Yeah, Mariano's legacy, unbelievable, unanimous first ballot. The other name I left out, Reggie, was Tony Gwynn. I had my list of Williams, Banks, Gwynn, Bonds. I put in Trout. I think Trout, without the injuries, wow, what his career looked like. And most of the listeners reacted and said Ken Griffey Jr. I was like, but there were other. Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr.
He was the best player of his era. Ken Griffey hit 56 homers twice, back to back.
Yeah. That's kind of what
not just once. Hit twice. Go ahead.
That's what Judge is doing. And Judge dropped the fly ball. Judge dropped the fly ball, hit right at him in the World Series. And Dodger fans and everyone around baseball is like, well, we don't care what you do. You had that play. And I'm fighting fans, Reggie, saying, no, stats matter. Stats matter in April, May, and June. They matter more in October and obviously September, the way you were just always clutch. But you play baseball every day. You're going to have a bad play or a bad defensive play throughout a long career. And fans are hard on Judge, and he's not going to be able to erase that other than getting into a World Series again and getting a ring and having big moments. And I hope he can
Lawless
do that
wants to
because
call
Ohtani's
in.
already got a ring. He played in Anaheim where he had no chance to do it. He goes to the Dodgers.
So we can get
Dodgers
him at
might
like
go
50.
to the pennant and to the World Series 4 out of the next 5 years, 6 out of the next 8 with that payroll.
It's not. Payroll's nice, but you got to play. You still got to be great. You still have to be great. I'm looking forward to for Judge to get his payback this fall in the Fall Classic.
Oh, I love that. I had the tone of your voice, just the tone of your voice when you're saying Judge getting payback, right? It sounds like a movie trailer.
Yeah, he's got to get his payback in the Fall Classic.
Absolutely. Last one from me. I appreciate your time. You had a great comment with me. You said Pete Rose had a lifetime ban, and now his life is over. The ban should be lifted. When you saw the news, Rob Manfred and Shoeless Joe Jackson,
he keeps calling this number and says the phone's out of service.
You're in the building. You talk to people privately here. God, I hope they don't screw up this Pete vote. I know there's some people who still want to keep him out, but we're obviously much closer.
Okay, let me dial this number.
Pete won't be there for that day in Cooperstown.
Well, I've talked to several people, and people ask me, Reggie, you think Pete should be in the Hall of Fame?
Okay.
I said, yes, I do. His numbers, he should be in the Hall of
Yep,
Fame.
perfect.
And I've asked 5 or 6 other people, couple in the Hall of Fame, one guy is an owner, and one guy's, ex-player, great player, and to a person, all 5 said no. And no axe to grind, no dislike, like him as a person. I mean, as a player, recognize his numbers. There's one sign in the Major League clubhouse. There's one rule that's written in the Major League clubhouse, and it's "Thou shalt not bet on a game." And if you do, you impair you take a chance on impairing the integrity of the game for the fans and for the people. Now, I would be very surprised if the Black Sox got in, because I believe they threw the World Series.
Yes.
I don't see how you get in the Hall of Fame with that. That's meaning Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, while I thought that Pete was going to have an easy ride in because of his numbers, I don't know if he's going to make it because of people look past. They liked him. He's a good guy, nice fella, all-time great. But Reggie, the integrity of the game and the fan. And I'm going to respect that. I'm going to get outvoted. I don't have a vote anyway. It's going to go to the either New Era committee or something. But I've never been on any of those committees. But I think Pete's going to struggle to get in, bro.
All right, you're probably right, and I hope he doesn't. Hey, last one with about a minute or two to go. With your car collection back home, do you got any cars in L.A.? I mean, I don't want to get your plans for the Yankees, but are you going to cruise around with one of your rides or see some old friends? You're going to head out to the beach? What are you going to be doing in L.A.?
I got some nice rides. I'll be there. I'll be sporting something. I've been seeing all these guys that on the internet now. They're showing what kind of ride they have. They need to throw something in there for Mr. October because I still got some beauties.
You do.
I have I have either the first AMG or one of the first AMGs that came into the country, a 1966 Mercedes convertible, silver with red leather and a black top, with a 6.3 and a 5-speed. And the car was built by Hans Alfreck, last name starts with an A, and Gerhard Melcher, that last name starts with an M. They were the two engineers that designed the AMG motor.
I'll go to break.
And the car was built in Grovespach. That's the sausage spots or, something like that. But that's AMG. And that car was in 1966, and the work was done in the early 70s. The car stickered for $8,700, and the conversion by Alfreck and Melcher was $91,000.
Back then.
And I've got all the paperwork in German. It's unbelievable.
That is. Hey, I got to run. I could talk to you forever. Thanks for doing this and thinking of me as always, especially on a night like tonight. I greatly appreciate our conversations and friendship.
JT the Brick, 25 years. Take care, my friend.
Yes. How about that? My conversation with Reggie Jackson. Thanks for indulging me, everyone. You got to remember this, and everybody knows Reggie Jackson. We got a big Oakland East Bay audience, and everybody else, people in the chat, really enjoyed that conversation. I said this last night without getting too emotional. My dad just turned 87, right? When Reggie in 77 hit the 3 home runs, I'm 12 years old, or 11, about to be 12. And I remember I was sitting with my dad and my mom. I had 2 younger sisters at the time. They were 9 and 8 or 9 and 7. And I remember in October in Massapequa, Long Island, cold October, Reggie Jackson hitting those 3 home runs. Now, at the time, my hero, and still my number 1 all-time hero in sports, Fred Biletnikoff, is gaining. But it's the late Thurman Munson, the great catcher, the captain of the Yankees, who died. That was my hero. And he and Reggie didn't get along at times, but they came together to win championships. Reggie was devastated when Thurman's plane crash killed Thurman. I went to Thurman's gravesite in Canton, Ohio. He's buried in Canton. And Reggie was a hero of mine. So when he's listening to me and calling in and wants to talk for 20 minutes, and I got an update in a commercial I got to get out of, I could have talked to that guy for 3 hours. So I know everybody out here, and the Pete Rose commentary was very interesting, because he doesn't think Pete might not get in. Wasn't expecting to hear that. All right, we want to thank our great friends at Grimaldi's Pizzeria. Have you been to Grimaldi's lately? They're selling slices. Slices. You can get a slice at Grimaldi's. I get the Brooklyn Bridge and the Caesar salad. They got great wines. You'll love it. Head on out to Grimaldi's, 4 locations in the Valley. It's the best pizza I've ever had. All right, that was a little break. You know, when you can, I always tell people when I can replay an interview that I did, that's okay. Sometimes I replay a coach interview, like if I talk to Pete Carroll this year, we'll replay that, you know, because it's better than me just sitting here talking about nothing. And there's a lot to talk about, but there's a lot of nothing going on right now. So wanted to have that. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. I mean, how many times am I going to get the chance to talk to Reggie Jackson? I hope a lot more, but, you know, God, he was unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. How about the car collection he has? Anybody understand what he was talking about with that car? Jeez.
Forgot about Lawless is at his lake house cottage. And he's looking at it, so. That's fine. Yeah.
Tito's house. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at Tito'sVodka.com.
You knew me when I was 30, not like 60. And I still the same insecure radio guy. Is anybody ever going to tell us we do a good job? Really?
You gotta pay for it.
Andrew Ashwood did. Andrew Ashwood would also tell me when I wasn't doing a good job.
Yeah.
You know, he would always tell me, hey, man, you know, you got to be better at this. You got to tease better. You got to do this.
But you gotta remember that was the last century, too. They changed it.
This Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, is there racism or not? Everybody shut up. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark's hurt. People are trying to race bait the black Angel Reese and the white Caitlin Clark. Can we be better than this, please? Can we please be better than this? We're really going to have to sit around and sit there and wonder. They had an investigation, and it looks like the Indiana fans were not using racial slurs, period. And then she reacts, Angel Reese reacts, and other people want to react to it. It's exhausting is the word I'll use. When there are race-related issues, bring them up. When there aren't any, don't bring it up. All right, this Renee Brown, who we have coming up here, she's an interesting woman. She's a super successful gal, lady. She's done a lot.
I'm Josh Galindo, owner of Galindo Group Real Estate. We're not just a real estate company, we're a lifestyle brokerage with over 20 years of experience. When you work with us, you get more than a realtor. You get an entire team dedicated to creating an experience you'll love. From start to finish, we make buying or selling your home smooth, fun, and completely stress-free. You got it, Galindo, 702-820-HOME.
GalindoGroupRealestate.com.
Are you looking for the best fit high school for your child? Cristo Rey St. Viator College Preparatory High School is accepting applications for the 2025-2026 school year. We offer high-quality college preparatory coursework, one-on-one academic counseling, college counseling, mental health counseling, and even an alumni advisor. Students work once a week at one of our partner companies to help pay for their tuition, so families only pay between $25 and $250 a month. Visit us on the web to learn more and apply today. CristoRayStViator.org.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, Zip Zap is your one-stop shop. Offering 24-hour smog test, oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine, and transmission rebuilding. And Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary. 24 hours.
All right. What else do I got lined up tonight? I got to pack. I got to go to Chicago, man. I love going to Chicago in May and June. Holy crap, it's beautiful there. So I'm going to head to Chicago. Do we have anybody here on the chat that's from Chicago?
Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Casa Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
As the Pacers take a 3-1 lead.
Well, the Pacers are just unbelievable. They played a game. They had a player last night who did something brilliant. And I don't like when brilliance is done against my team. All right, so it happened. I was at Freddie Freeman's walk-off, the grand slam he hit against the Yankees in Game 1 of the World Series. It was brilliant. It happened to me. I was in shock. I was in a state of shock. I really was. When he was rounding the bases, I was in some type of phase that I haven't been at other stages in my life. And then I told the story. I had to go back to the hotel, and my son and I ordered a pizza, and we were in our 2 beds sitting in the room having pizza. And my son said to me, "Dad, we had a good day." And I snapped out of it. I've been watching this big wave documentary, which is amazing, called The 100-Foot Wave. And a lot of these guys get wiped out in these 80-foot waves, and they don't remember anything. Then they come to shore and they wake up. You know, it's an out-of-body experience. That was me when Freddie Freeman hit the grand slam. Last night when Halliburton was knocking down those shots, I was in shock. Drove me nuts. Stevie G out in Oakland, Oaktown. What's up, Stevie?
Hey, JT, how you doing?
Doing good, thanks.
Let me say thank you for the Reggie Jackson interview. Just as a kid who remembers Reggie, just to have, and I think when you do it, it's always fantastic. So I don't know what your schedule's like. I don't know if that's once a month, once a quarter, once a year. I just love it. It was fantastic.
You. Appreciate that. Thank you.
The 2 things. One is just about what Reggie just did, I thought. I love it in part because these legends, when they cross sports, they make so much sense. Mm-hmm. He talked about the Knicks not rebounding. He talked about what they could have done to be more in the game, more in the moment, just as like athlete to athlete type stuff. And then I'm going to segue to this quickly about that. When Belichick, and I know Raider fans don't always like to hear about the Patriots, but I lived in Boston for 16 years. When Belichick and the Patriots won that first Super Bowl, the first thing he did as champions was to have Bill Russell come talk to the team. Mm-hmm. Like, amazing, right? We're going to give you the champion of all champions, right? 11 championships out of 13 years to come talk to you about what it means to not just be a champion, but to maintain that level of consistency. Mm-hmm. So I just thought some of that cross-pollination of, like, you know, these legends talking about not only their own sport, but the others is fantastic. The other point I wanted to make was what Halliburton did, and I'm going to just focus on the 15 assists in 0 turnovers. Almost like the ultimate as like a team, right? Like a team stat stuff, right? I'm giving you 15 assists, and then, what is it, like 60-something%, I think, in terms of all the passes he was making. But 15 assists out of that. But then the 0 turnovers, and he wasn't just making, like, wide open passes. He had to take some chances there. And to put up what he did was fantastic. As a sports fan, I want to see the Knicks maintain their establish home court. They haven't won on home court yet.
Yeah, they're done. They're done, man. Yeah. I'm a fan. I don't see them bouncing back and winning 3 in a row. But my friend, I appreciate the compliment on Reggie. I got the top of the hour. That's the only time I have to get out. I appreciate you with the compliments there, and I'm happy you enjoyed that. I'd like to see the Knicks win on home court too. They should be able to do it. We're brought to you by Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. We say one love. They got the plush puppy during graduation time. It's graduation time. Go to a Raising Cane's, get the plush puppy. You can go on their site to their gear section and see what they do. Become a Caniac. By having a box combo, you will fall in love with the best chicken fingers on the planet. Raising Cane's. All right, everybody. I'm going to bail out because I'm doing a really regional interview. Southern Nevada Hall of Famer Renee Brown. I have Vinny Bonsignore if you want to listen to that on the app. Vinny's not in studio with me, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff coming up here. So a lot of people have been asking me, am I going to stream more? Am I going to stream more? Yes. This is really important to me. I want to get about 10 or 20,000 people in here. We're almost at 7. Okay. Then I want to do a night show exclusively on YouTube, kind of like with Shannon Sharp. And yes, Shannon Sharp's going through a little bump here, but I want to do kind of like a night show the nights I'm not on the radio, so we can do that. And then, you know, put up all this other content so you can just come to the page and look at it. And it's going to pick up a lot here coming up with the Raiders and training camp right around the corner. So appreciate you all today, man. Have a great week. I'm going to be back on Monday. I'm off tomorrow and Thursday for Mike Ditko's Gridiron Greats in Chicago. Vince Sapienza's in for me tomorrow. and Vinny Bonsignore is in for me on Friday. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.